With this $100 bill, I could buy all 10 games on this list and still have money left for a nice lunch. These are the top 10 games I would buy for under 10 bucks. These days we're all on a budget, but we still want quality. I think you could find that here on this shelf. And according to Board Game Oracle, all of these games have come under $10 at some point in time. So maybe it's a smaller box game, but you get a lot of game for a very little price. I'm going to be showing you these games starting at the most expensive to the cheapest at under just $4. Some of these might not be cheap right now, but they have been at some point in time. And I can't say this enough. These are good games. First up is our most expensive game at just $9.99. This is Just One. This is a game that plays in about 20 minutes, a co-op game. You can play with your family and friends equally. In Just One, each player takes a turn as the guesser, while the other players provide one unique word to help the guesser guess the secret word. Guess right all 13 rounds and your team has just won the perfect game of Just One. This game comes around a lot of folks that aren't gamers. It's easy to learn, it packs light, it has great components, and it's one of my favorite to bring to any event. And in fact, you can even play it at home because it's on Board Game Arena. Even though that game's cheap, there's another game that's less than half the price later on in this list. Priced at just $9.75 right now as I'm making this video is Who's It? This is probably one of the less popular games on this list, but Who's It is another cooperative game for the family, and it's kind of like Guess Who. As the clue giver, you draw cards with phrases like has slept in the gutter, and you pair them next to a chart that ranges from definitely to maybe to neutral to definitely not. These traits are trying to get your team to point at one of the 6 characters that are drawn during the game. And if you do it really well, that's how you win Who's It. And it's always a blast trying to get that perfect game. This is a game where people can stand around the table with a drink in one hand, snack in the other, and still help and be passionate about trying to get that perfect game for the group. One of my favorite memories, family memories, is playing a game of Who's It's. And my family isn't even really into games all that much, but as we were successful in getting that perfect game, everyone erupted in cheers. It was a great time. Who's It's? I gotta thank you for that. Forgot to grab this. Targi is the heaviest game on this list with a weight of 2.34 on BGG, but at one point in time, it was priced at just $9.14. That's a great time to buy this 2-player game. In this game that mostly uses cards, there's a 5x5 setup of cards, where the 3x3 square in the middle changes throughout the game. Players take turns placing 3 meeples on the outside edges to form cross sections. The cards where the cross sections were formed you can claim and add one to your tableau or your hand. There's a bit more to it, but it takes place over 16 rounds and there's a lot of cool choices you can make along the way. Now the box says 60 minutes, and I think this is one of the few board games that's actually honest about that time. This game does come in right at about 60 minutes every time I play it. And this is a game that you can play it the first time and maybe not get it all the way, but over time you start to master it, start to figure it out, and this is also a game you can play on Board Game Arena. If you're not burned out on code names, you can probably pick up a copy for about $8.04. But let me introduce you to Codenames Duet that you can get for $7.99. And this one's actually my preference. Really quick, Codenames is a team versus team game where each team has a clue giver that's giving out clues trying to get the rest of the team to guess what all of their team's cards are on the table. It's a race to see who can do it in fewer clues. If you haven't played it, it is definitely worth trying. You can actually play it at codenames.game. There's a free online version of it. Bring some friends. But Codenames Duet is a co-op version of Codenames. It's also playable with more than 2 people, even though this is playable with just 2 people. This next game is sometimes priced at around $20, but at one point in time, it was marked all the way down to $7.99 according to Board Game Oracle, and that is Ticket to Ride London. These are part of the City series games. They're the smaller versions of Ticket to Ride. You can even find these at big box stores, and sometimes they'll go on sale for about $7.99. If you're not familiar with Ticket to Ride, you're connecting all these trains together, going from one destination to another. I really suggest you try it out. It's also on Board Game Arena. And they also have a new app that just came out. I haven't played that yet, but if you have, let me know how it is. These are the 5 games we've looked at so far, and if you bought them for the Board Game Oracle lowest price, that'd be right around $40. But coming up, we have a game that's under $4, so stick around for that. So the next game, I was looking for the book, but I couldn't find it. I only have the rule book, and I only have this is where I keep the game, just to take it around. This is Werewords. This is a great introduction to social deduction. This is one of the few games I've actually bought twice. And the reason you can buy it twice is because you can get it for $7.99 according to Board Game Oracle. In Werewords, it's werewolves versus the humans. The humans have one public role, and the mayor and everyone else at the table are all secret roles. So if you're familiar with Werewolf, it's already like that, except they add 20 questions into it. It sounds like a weird combo, but I assure you, it's a lot of fun. I'd recommend playing this with at least 7 players, but it's a great time for only $8. Alright, so this game has come in as low as $6.99, and it's small enough to fit in one of these photo holders. If you want to know more about the photo holders, there's a video on this channel where I talk all about that. But the game I'm talking about, actually, the whole thing fits in the box. And this is the box here. It's Llama, the card game. This was actually a Spiel nominee. There's the badge. And this is a fun and easy card game. You could probably teach it in about 5 minutes, but let me tell you more about it. There's 56 cards in this game, all from Llama to 1 to 6. To take your turn, you play a card on the stack in the middle. It either has to match the number that's in the middle or be one above it. If it's a 6, you can play a llama. If it's a llama, you can play a 1. If you manage to get rid of all your cards, you can get rid of any markers that you have, because remember, points are a bad thing. But if you can't get rid of all the cards in your hand, you're gonna have to take markers. And if you ever go over 40 points, the game is over, and the person with the least points wins the game. I highly recommend Llama, the card game. I've also played the dice game. It's not as good, but the card game holds up really high. And once again, this is available on Board Game Arena, so add Heart Board Games on Board Game Arena if you want to play some Llama with me. Praise be, Phil Walker Harding has designed this wonderful little game called Silver and Gold, and at some point in time, it was only $6.49. This is a game that I've even seen at like checkout counters as a quick grab next to the candy bars. In Silver and Gold, it's a roll and write. Well, not really, it's a flip and write, you know? So you're gonna flip over these shapes that are on here, and you're gonna fill out your cards with the markers. Everything you can write with markers in this game. The game takes place over 4 rounds, and you're just trying to fill in all the cards you can to get the most points you can. This is a game I easily take around. You can see how light it is. Silver and Gold, Phil Walker Harding, I highly recommend this one as well. It's not available on Board Game Arena, but it'd be cool if it was. I had it upside down the whole time. We're finally down to the top 2 cheapest games in this top 10. As you can see, my hands are empty because this game, I don't actually have a physical copy of it. I usually play it on Board Game Arena, but it's been priced as low as $6.49 according to Board Game Oracle. And that game is a Sid Sackson classic called Can't Stop Express. So maybe you've heard of Can't Stop, the dice rolling game where you're trying to get to the top of the trees. This is a different experience. This is Can't Stop Express. In Can't Stop Express, you're also taking risks, just like in Can't Stop. But in this game, it's a roll and write, and you're usually having about 25 rolls before the game is over. And you have to predict and plan, and you're choosing the best combination of dice, just like you do in the original Can't Stop. This is a game that actually caught me by surprise when I played it on Board Game Arena, because I think so highly of Can't Stop that I was like, Express? Really? We're gonna speed up that? But actually, it's a pretty good version, and I learned that it's a re-implementation of a game called Solitaire Dice. And those rules are exactly the same as Can't Stop Express. All right, we're here. It's a $3.99 game. It plays 2 to 5 players. It's a drafting game. It plays in about 15 minutes. Happen to know what it is? It's Sushi Go. And this is the original tin that I have. I'm sure it's in paper now since it only costs $3.99. But this is a game that you can take anywhere with you, at least a small version. If you're a fan of Sushi Go, they do have a bigger version called Sushi Go Party that you can exchange cards, switch out goals and everything like that. But Sushi Go is our #1 cheapest game. So after you hit that subscribe button, spend that money wisely because the box is closed.